Hey, what is going on, guys? Today I'm sharing with you 5 brand new Assetto Corsa mods that you need to check out. We have some super cool stuff on today's list, from some historic and future street tracks to some very classic and not as much classic, but just very interesting looking road cars. Before we get into it though, I'd like to give a quick shout out to my second channel, JC Racing. If you want to see some broader sim racing content besides just Assetto Corsa mods, that will be your one-stop shop for it. You can find it down in the top link in the description below. Without further ado, let's get right on to the first track mod on today's list, and this is Pyynikki. This is made by Lupa79 over on Race Department, and this was a track that pretty much raced between the 1930s all the way up to 1971 off and on. The specific era of the track that is represented here is going to be roughly the mid-60s, and this track was made using real-life land surveys and LiDAR data for the roads and the surrounding areas. Overall, it's a very unique track. It's definitely a 50s, 60s track where it's basically on public roads with no kind of safety or anything whatsoever, and it's a very cool landscape as well, being in a kind of historic town in Finland. So very cool to see, and whether you want to race some old Mini Coopers that used to drive around here in real life, or if you want to take something really crazy around here, you're definitely able to do so. And overall, a very nice track. You can find it down in the link in the description below. Next up on the list, we have the 1958 Vanwall VW Grand Prix. This was, I believe, a Formula One car from the 1950s. This thing has 231 brake horsepower. It uses aviation gas because it is a aviation engine under the hood, and it weighs 740 kilograms. Of course, back in the day, these things were bathtubs full of fuel, front engine, very skinny tires. Definitely a very unique era of F1 as a whole. This is made by God over on Race Department. He's made some other 50s F1 cars, so this adds to the collection, and overall it is a very nice car, fun to drive. If these kind of 50s, early 60s F1 cars are your thing, then this is definitely one to check out. You could find it down in the link in the description below. Next up on the list, we have the Arlington City Street Circuit. This is a proposed IndyCar street race coming to the calendar in 2026 in Arlington, Texas. It is a pretty unique layout, very simple. I mean, it's not super simple, but definitely more simple than, you know, some of the F1 tracks we come to expect, but that's usually how it is with IndyCar. This is 4.4 kilometers long. As for the trackside details, they're actually pretty decent for a track that has been made within just a couple days of the announcement of this race happening. And I'm sure it will get updated as time goes on to add even more details, but you have AT&T Stadium and you have some surrounding city buildings as well. So if you're trying to get a feel for what this track's going to drive like, and maybe even look like a little bit with the scenery, then this is definitely going to be your best bet in the current moment in sim racing as a whole. So a very cool track. If you're an IndyCar fan, you're definitely going to have to check this one out. You can find it down in the link in the description below. Next up on the list, we have the Citroen Berlingo. This is a little station wagon, minivan, SUV. I guess it's not really an SUV. It's 186 brake horsepower, 187 Newton meters of torque. It weighs 1,061 kilograms. The one we're looking at today is the VTS, which has some aftermarket wheels thrown on it. And this was just a little city commuter to haul some maybe mail or, you know, cargo in the back. A European kind of utility van, if you will, is probably the best way to put this. But it's a very unique looking car, so if you're into these kind of things in Assetto Corsa, that, this is definitely going to be a car to check out. This is made by MNBA, so they make very, very high quality road cars. This one looks pretty good. You can find it down in their Patreon in the description below. Even though it's on their Patreon, of course, it is free. However, if you do want to support them and get access to their paid work, I always recommend it. Finally, on today's list, we have Chimay. This is made by RMI Wood over on Race Department, and it is a fictional Belgian street track taking place in the mid-90s. So you do have the Armco barriers dotted around and some older historic signage. It is 4.6 kilometers long. It has 24 pits, so if you want to do some more historic racing around here, you will be able to do it. It is a relatively simple lap, especially if you remove the chicanes. It's pretty much just a big rectangle, but overall it definitely has some charm to it, and being in the Belgian countryside, it's definitely a pretty track, and overall is very high quality. Its texture work is very nice as well, so if you're into these kind of tracks, this is definitely going to be one to check out. You can find it down in the link in the description below. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. If you did enjoy this video, a like and a sub would mean a lot. Once again, be sure to check out my second channel, JC Racing. It will be the top link in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Have a good one, guys.